Warning! Hey, dumbass! This show is called The Offenders. So if you hear something that offends you, then we are doing our fucking job. So quit crying. Love the offenders.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Offenders Podcast. I'm Kyle, and coming to me across cyberspace is Evan.
Hello everybody, Evan Jones here, and sitting to my left, the return of the mysterious, the elusive Shane Tipton.
That's me.
And today, we have a very special topic of discussion. Hikikomori. Hikikomori! In case you need me to say that in English, too fucking bad. It's a Japanese word. Hikikomori. What it means is specifically pulling inward, being confined, acute social withdrawal. And basically, it's a term for somebody who is a self-imposed shut-in. It's been happening a lot over the past 20 years or so in Japan, but recently, even more so, it's become a worldwide thing. I think all of us, know a person or two, be it somebody who's playing video games all the time or is just on the internet or, just doesn't leave the house. But the thing is, it's turning into a problem, within society because it's removing people from the workforce. It's removing, reproduction. So it's really crazy.
Well, I know that's like a big problem in Japan now, that like a lot of guys are like so shut in or withdrawn, or they just don't want to have anything to do with like relationships because they're too hard, that they've had a massive decline in like the population growth, to the point where like they say that if they can't improve it or change it in the next so many years, that when this generation gets older, it's going to cripple the next generation because they won't be able to pay for the social welfare program that are in place to take care of the elderly.
Exactly. And that's kind of what it's all going towards. And like, you can break it down into a number of different things, specifically in Japanese terms, because I'm pretty much Japanese, but I'm stuck in a white dude's body.
Penis is the right size though.
Says who? You have I guess one of the subcategories would be NEET, which is NEET. It stands for not in education, employment, or training. Like somebody who would leave high school and just stop. That would be a NEET. Then you have freeders. A good reference to a freeder would be like Kentaro Oe from Golden Boy. It's like somebody who just doesn't go into full-time employment. You couldn't have a housewife or a student to be a freeder. It's like somebody who just doesn't want to be a salaryman. Either they can't handle the pressure or they just don't want that lifestyle. And the NEETs and the freeders are starting to take over in Japan, which kind of leads us to what you were just talking about there. And the reason that I wanted to bring this up is because I feel that it's pretty common knowledge that we here at the Offenders are not really normal. So since there's a little bit of us in this idea, like, let me break it down. Myself, I'm straight edge, which means that I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't go out and have sex all the time with beautiful women. Whether that's my choice or not, let's not talk about that.
No, well, I mean, that part might not be your choice, but the other parts are.
Sometimes it's my choice, but the thing is, that's just my life. And plus, after having lots of crazy girlfriends, I'm kind of a little anxious to get back into the dating scene. And, to be honest, I might as well just marry a body pillow and get it over with. If you don't know what that is, look up Korean Man 2010 who married body pillow. Now, Kyle, if I may.
Okay.
You prefer to stay in on the weekends. You like to play video games because you get easily frustrated with stupidity within society, correct?
Mm-hmm. Sure, yeah.
You are a math genius, so it's some of the pressures of knowing more than other people can lead you to hold things against other people because they're too stupid to understand what's going on. So, if I may, you may as well marry a Nintendo DS and get it over with. Reference to a Japanese man, 2009. Would you ever do that? Would you marry a DS if it got you a tax break?
I would marry a better piece of equipment before I'd marry a DS for a tax break. Like maybe like a PS3 or an Xbox 360, but a DS, I mean, that's a piece of... I mean, I think I've gone off on Nintendo multiple times on here, so I wouldn't marry a Nintendo product.
The fact that you're even thinking about possible wives as an electronic device further cements the point.
I'd marry a Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that's pretty great. That's one of the best ones.
But I wouldn't marry an NES because that damn thing would quit on you, weekend.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that and you'd have to blow it all the time.
Stick your finger in the slot, wiggle it around to get it working.
You would get arrested because, when it kept failing, you would just hit the hell out of it and then try it again.
For
like, I told you to work once.
I hit it because I love it, not because I hate it.
The
goddamn thing just doesn't work.
Now, Shane, on the other hand, he lives with one of our mutual friends. And he's lived there for a while, and then before that, he lived with another mutual friend of ours. He's never, really had his own apartment or anything like that. He's worked a bunch of odd jobs, but nothing official since Spencer's back in 2001?
Yeah.
2002? So as you can see, when you put the three of us together, we become a Hikikomori.
Yes!
All three of us
Our
together.
powers combined.
Yes, our powers combined, we are the most reclusive Voltron you have ever met. So... the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because I can see myself going that route sometimes. Because I've been trying to go out more lately, go hang out downtown and stuff like that, but it's really just not all that enthralling to me. I mean, I'd just much rather stay home, when it comes to dating and whatnot. I can watch a girl on an anime and get my ideal of love and get the same chemical reactions, the same feelings from that, which some people might laugh at, but that's all that, those feelings are anyway. They're chemical reactions. And this way, I don't have to worry about being let down. I don't have to worry about being yelled at or hit. I'm still getting the same thing. But at the same time, I realize eventually I'm going to have to make a little Evan. And that's kind of where I'm stuck in the middle, so...
But do you have to do that? Or do you have to do that because society tells you have to do that?
That's a good
I have to do that because my father will kill me if our line dies with me.
That kind of defeats the purpose.
If you're not going to give me a child, I'm going to take your life away, child.
My dad is a crazy bodybuilder, but he's really nice, but he really is huge and crazy barbarian. But the thing is, one of the points I wanted to hit on is recently I've been watching an anime called Welcome to the NHK. Mm-hmm. And NHK is kind of like the NBC of Japan. But in this series, it's about a Hikikomori named Sato who left college and has been unemployed for 4 years. He's been living by himself in a small apartment, which is completely paid for by his parents. And he doesn't really have any outside influence, so all of the thoughts that he comes up with are automatically the truth, which is another problem in the Hikikomori mindset. And you get introduced to some of his other characters that are his friends, like next door to him is a guy who's obsessed with eroge. Shane, would you like to tell the world what eroge is?
Well, it's basically a hentai game. That's
Yes.
the best way to explain it.
Oh.
Like, if you take the idea of a Sim City and try to apply that to dating,
Yes.
that's kind of what it is.
Sort of what it is.
Oh, it sounds kind of like Second Life or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So his friend programs games like that because he, like myself, has had a bunch of crazy, girlfriends and stuff. So he's just like, I'm not going to get what I want from society, so I'm going to create this for me and the other people like me. So you get to see a little bit into the mindset of somebody else like that, because pretty much this guy shuts himself in his apartment. Aside from going to school, he just sits there and plays the games all day. And there's some other characters that come in, like a girl who says that she's going to cure Sato of his Hikikomori mind frame and all this stuff. But the great thing about the society is this anime is it's a real honest look at how the mindset works. Because it kind of caught me off guard, because I would watch it and I would say, damn, I do that. And it's cool because, you do dumb shit when you're by yourself. When you just get bored, you might stand up and start shadow boxing, or, you might be like, man, what was the name of that boss in Adventures of Lolo? What was the third frame? Just whatever dumb thing. And it's all a very honest depiction of how that mind frame is played out. And to me, one of the biggest huh?
I was saying, in the series, do they ever go into why he decided to do it, or did he just whatever, just because he's been hurt, or what was the reason?
Absolutely. The thing is, kind of the bigger point this is all going towards is, what is it that is causing this gigantic flux of all of the same type of behavior in society? You know, is this a problem that is just because these people are not strong enough to deal with life? Or has life become something that is stronger than it has ever been before, you know, in the pressures of job and society, to always produce, to always, you know, have things be sensational and outlandish? You know, perhaps society, you know, which is the thing that's keeping us from being like everybody else, is actually partly to blame. What do you guys think about that?
Well, as a lot, when I say about these things, it's like a lot of stuff has happened a lot, but we didn't know about it because we didn't have the internet where you know about everything that ever happens in the world everywhere, all of the time. And it's also probably part of it as well. It's like, imagine a lot of people like see all this stuff that they never knew about. And it's like, the world is just terrible. It's much worse than I thought it was. I'm just going to stay inside.
So because of the exposures of what
Yes.
they're seeing, they do themselves.
Most people used to only see what was right around them. Now you get on the internet and you see, like, if that's what you focus on, of course, all the terrible stuff in the world. It's just like, well, what's the point?
Yeah. What are they looking for? What do you think, Kyle?
I kind of agree with what Shane's saying, because I know, lately, I'm one of these people, like, I go through, like, I'm really into the news and I want to know what's going on all the time. And so I get really into it and I follow it. And following the news is like the most depressing fucking thing in the whole world, because it's never good news. If it is good news, it's like something just completely terrible comes up afterwards to crush it. Or it's just something just like, God, what the fuck is going on? Let people do this or think like this, or leads to people doing the kind of stuff they do that's so horrible. And so it just makes you just angrier and angrier and more jaded until eventually you're just like, fuck it, whatever. So I usually go through these cycles where I'm really into the news and want to know everything that's going on. And then I just say, screw it, I don't want to look at it. And then I like withdraw back into whatever I'm focusing on then, if it's video games or anime or whatever. So I can kind of see that. But another thing you said that hit me was the people being hurt by society and withdrawing.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the Hedgehog's Dilemma.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Evangelion, yeah.
Yeah, and Evangelion. Well, it's actually a thing. It's, you're afraid of being hurt by those around you because you end up hurting them in return, like Shinji does. I mean, I think he very much has kind of he's one of these people who you could see being a Hikikomori, because he's been hurt so much by everybody around him and he's always being hurt, and he just withdraws because, the tape cassette he's always listening to, just to withdraw from everything around him. So, I mean, I could see that kind of happening because of society hurting people. Is that what happened? I mean, do they actually tell you why the guy in NHK is like that?
Yeah, it's pressures from his parents, it's pressures from, school and all this other stuff, and, it's like an amalgam of all these things that happen to him.
I can understand the school pressure stuff.
Because you might go out and it might be your first step taking a huge risk, and it fails miserably. So because that emotional pull is so strong, you no longer want to take that risk because you think, well, I gave it my best and I fucked up and it just was so painful. So you never really make that next step because you think every situation is going to end up exactly like that one. It's that subjective mentality, the lack of having anybody else's opinions or thoughts, which is what creates Hikikomori, I believe.
Well, talking about the school stuff, that's something like I kind of felt too when I moved up here to start my graduate program. Like when I was in my undergraduate, I was the guy in the class that everybody always turned to, and it's like, oh, well, Kyle knows it, ask him. Oh, he can explain it to you, ask him, stuff like that. I come up here though, and it's a totally different ball game. And now it's like, I'm not that guy, so it's kind of weird not being that guy. And it took me a little bit of time to get used to it, but I actually like not being that guy because people don't come wanting help on everything from me. They're just kind of like, do you know what's going on? But maybe, and then we can figure it out. We can figure it out together, because 9 times out of 10, neither one of us knew what's going on, but we can help each other in the right direction. So I can understand that pressure, and especially in Japan, where it's like, I mean, it's a huge thing to be successful. Like not the current generation, but the generation before them it was all about, becoming a businessman and moving up in society, and you have to take care of your family when they get older and they can't work, and you're the one who takes care of them, so you got to be able to support yourself and your family and then your parents and them too and all this stuff.
Yep.
So I can understand how maybe it's not as big over here as it is over there. So, and over here too, they would just call you a lazy son of a bitch and...
Yeah, recluse,
yeah,
a nerd or something, because like you just decide to stay at home all the time, or you don't want to leave the house. Like Shane, you're not a big person for going out for social events. Is there a particular reason why you don't like going out, or why you just don't want to do anything?
The reason behind it is I don't mind meeting new people, but I'm perfectly happy with the people that I know.
Yeah.
So if people want to get together, I'd rather be like in a place in the same room with them where I can hear the people that I want to hear instead of all this other stuff going on. Because it's usually like a concert or something. It's like, I can't talk to anybody when I'm at a concert. So I actually like being around people. I like talking to people. It's just, I don't want to be in this big social situation where it's usually loud or something, like it's a concert or something like I can't talk to them. It's like, if I want to listen to music, I'll listen to music at home.
Yeah, I have a friend, I think she put it best one time when she's like, I have plenty of friends. I don't need any more because I just don't have time to devote to a lot of these new people who want to come in and be friends when I've got so many years and time devoted to other people who I'm currently friends with and been friends with for a long time. So I can kind of see that too, because that's a lot of times I don't go out because I'm like, I'm not going to know anybody there. I don't really give a shit about meeting anybody new. So fuck it. I'll just stay in. It's cheaper anyways.
I tell you, another thing that's frustrating, at least it frustrates me, is all these like traditions and rules of ways that you absolutely have to do things in society that makes you not want to deal with it. Because someone's always like, there's this horrible problem. I'm like, well, I know the solution to that problem. This. Oh no, we can't do that. That's not what we do. Well, you have a stupid fucking rule. The stupid fucking rule is what makes everything so bad. And I don't want to deal with it. I hate dealing with stupid fucking rules. I mean, like jaywalking. Why don't you cross the street at the crosswalk? Because it's clear now. By the time I get to the crosswalk, there'll be cars coming. It's a stupid rule. Just stuff like that. It drives me crazy, and it makes me not want to deal with people because people get into those traditions.
Try working in corporate America.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nothing but a bunch of stupid fucking rules. It's basically like the first day should be called, all the stupid fucking rules you're going to have to follow, but we're not. Get ready for it.
Exactly. It's just stuff like that. It's just like, and then like they get so upset, and you wonder why. And sometimes if you question them, and it gets through, they're like, "Well, it's a stupid rule, but we should follow it because you follow the rules." It's like that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, that's pretty few and far between, though. Honestly, to get somebody to actually admit something like that,
most of them don't think about it. They're just like, "This is what we've always done." Well, yeah, sure, but
or when people, at least in my experience, when dealing in like, corporate America or even in academia, when somebody realizes it's a stupid rule, who's in an authority position, and they say it's a stupid rule, it's usually because they've completely fucking given up and they don't care anymore, so they don't have to lie to you as the under person saying, no, this is real, we need to do this. They're just like, yeah, it's fucking stupid, but what does it matter? Just do it. That's pretty much the mentality most of them have.
I would much rather just deal with that than have somebody try to defend something when they know they couldn't.
That's true.
Yeah, I agree. If we can all agree it's fucking stupid and then just do it, okay. But if you're going to lie to my face, that's a different story.
And like another thing I wanted to talk about, which I thought was pretty cool, was I think a lot of it has to do with like escapism, because like I'm just as guilty of this as everybody else is. I like to go to concerts, I like to mosh, I like to watch anime, I like to read books. But one of the most interesting characters is a guy named I think his name's Yuichi, and basically he's a Hikikomori as well, who is being completely supported by his sister, who has to work all these crazy jobs to take care of him because, he moved to Tokyo and his parents died shortly after, and he broke down mentally. So she moved to take care of him, and instead of him going out and getting a job, he became addicted to this game, which is called Ultima Fantasy, which is kind of like a mixture of World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy, and anyway, he becomes like one of the most awesome characters in the entire game. Like, everybody knows who he is. He can talk to everybody on there. But the thing is, something happens in the story, in the anime, and they actually go to the house, and they go in to talk to him, and he starts fucking screaming like, ah! And he like tries to hide under the desk, and he completely flips out just because there are other people in the room. So what they do is, all the characters except for that Hikikomori are told to leave the room, and the original guy, Sato, is told by the Hikikomori's sister to talk to him. He's like, well, I just went in there and he was screaming. She's like, no, use this laptop to talk to him. So they get together in this online chat room in the game, and they talk to each other. And I wanted to read this little quote here. So Sato walks up to Yuichi, and he says, well, what are you going to do? I mean, are you just going to play this for the rest of your life? You know, your sister is taking care of you. You should have a job. And he says, what do I do from here on out? How to improve my life? I actually know the answer. I've read about 200 books on self-improvement. I've even thought about writing one myself. I already know everything. And then Sato says, then why? Yuichi says, I'm scared. I'm scared of changing my way of life. If I do, something unexpected may occur. I know things can't remain like this forever, but I want it to remain like this. Although I know it isn't realistic, I keep thinking that suddenly, one day a surprise will occur, and everything will resolve itself. And as soon as he said that, I was like, holy shit. That was me for like the last 10 years of my life. You know, because you get sucked into these other worlds and you forget about everything that's happening to you. And it's like people are constantly telling you, you know, get away from the computer, do this, do that. You know, you don't need to be doing that. And you know that you can, and you know that it's possible, but you're just so comfortable not having to do it that it's almost impossible to get yourself to break away. So in that character, I saw a lot of myself when I was growing up. And, you know, it just goes to show you how easy it is to forget about how real life can be because you just purposefully avoid life.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to either of you?
Yes.
Yeah, I see.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I mean, if you think about it, no matter who you are or what you do, there's a level of escapism that you have in your life. So if if you're a husband or a father and you work 40 hours a week and you take care of your kids, you know, when you get home, and then you do stuff for your wife, there's something that you do for yourself at some point, whether it be you play video games or maybe you go play golf, maybe you go play poker with your friends, but that's escaping from your life. I mean, it's part of your life, but you're escaping from like what you have to do within your life. Because there's, no matter who you are, there's stuff you got to do whether you want to do it or not, you know, like, I mean, if it was up to me, I probably wouldn't have gone to school again. I probably would have just done something else instead that I would have enjoyed more. But it's like, fuck it, I'm here. I just got to do it now. And when I'm done, fuck it. Who knows what I'll do then? Maybe I will get a job using my degree. Maybe I'll be like most of the people I know who don't use their degree in their job. I don't know. But, you know, everything we do, there's a level of escapism to it. Whether it, you know, like I said, you go play a sport when you're not doing what you have to do, or you play a video game or role play, whatever. So that makes perfect sense, what he said.
So what I'm imagining now is someone who does play sports all day, or their job is to play poker, and so they're like, God, I gotta get away from this. Look, I'm gonna go to Geico, I'm gonna get on the phone, I'm gonna take calls all goddamn day. I can't stand any more of this fucking poker.
Yeah,
I just can't wait to go clean a toilet.
Yeah, I don't know what those people would do for escaping. I mean, I'm sure, like, actually, you know, a lot of the sports guys, you see them, like, when they play baseball or basketball or something, they all like to play golf on the side because it's, like, so laid back compared to what they do. But
Yeah.
I doubt you see too many golfers out there in their free time playing golf. They probably do other stuff.
They play football.
Yeah. Play high-lie.
And another thing I wanted to mention is a large portion of this, not even just in the Hikikomori, but like just recluses around the world, is like developmental disorders, like autism and Asperger's and stuff like that. And, you know, a lot of those people are just resigned to live lives with no option or way out because that's their birth defect. That's how they were born, you know. They can't process emotions normally like other people do. So there's the line between those types of hikikomoris and the line between the people who just have this, you know, some kind of trauma, you know, like maybe their mothers told them that if they went outside that they were going to get beat up by, you know, criminals in the street. So they associate going outside with fear, you know, so
Yeah.
It's not just always saying that these people are just losers because they're afraid of everything. Some people really don't have an option because they have birth defects. They, you know, there's something wrong with them mentally.
Or just the way they were raised, like you said. I mean, like, especially in America, we're raised in a society that teaches you to be afraid of fucking everything.
Absolutely.
And it's ridiculous.
Then it's easy to sell you stuff that will protect you from those things.
Yeah,
Right.
it's so ridiculous. Like, I'm gonna get my soapbox for a moment, but
Oh, okay.
the war on terror is the biggest joke ever, as is the war on drugs, but that's a different story. But the war on terror is so ridiculous because the likelihood that you're going to be in a terror attack on American soil, the probability of that happening is so fucking small. You'd be struck by lightning multiple times in the same place before that would happen. You'd be attacked by a shark in a freshwater lake before this would happen. That's how rare it is. But people have this thing in their mind because the biggest event, 9/11, you remember it, and 3,000 people died in that one event. And so people have been bred to be afraid of terrorists and how we have to do all this stuff against them. And by doing it, people have given up freedoms and stuff like that. People shut in, doing whatever, just because they're terrorized and afraid. And that's, I think that's part of it too. Like you said before, people are afraid to maybe go out in society. Or maybe it's just like, maybe they're like me and they're just like, man, this place sucks. I don't want to deal with any of these fucking people.
I mean, it's like, if you'll forgive another Game of Thrones reference, it's like what Syrio told Arya when she was doing her lessons. Fear cuts deeper than a sword.
Mm-hmm.
And that one little seed of fear will be planted in your brain. And if you keep feeding it saying, yeah, that is true because of this, of this, all you're doing is putting more and more space between you and the door to the outside world, which objectively is not a wonderful place, is not a terrible place. Right. It's just the earth. The earth is the earth. It's what you do with it, which is what makes it what you believe it is. Because that's all we have is just our perception of reality. It's like you have, one of my favorite examples to use is you have a house with a guy sitting on the porch, and you have two people walking by that house with the guy on the porch. The first guy walks by the house, and he says, why the fuck is that asshole on the porch staring at me? The second guy walks by, and he goes, man, that guy is really enjoying himself. In truth, that guy on the porch could be thinking about a divorce. He could be staring at a fucking, nice car behind the first guy. Nobody knows, but because we feel like we know exactly how things are because of our egos, we make up our minds to reality when really it's just our subjective understanding of that particular situation.
That's exactly how it is. There's a lot of stuff that's like that, where it's just like people just assume that something is some way, and then they react to it, and then of course they get a response proportional to their reaction, and they just take that as proof. It's like, if I see this person over here, I don't like the way he's looking at me, I'm going to punch him in the face. He must want to fight with me. So you punch him in the face, and of course he punches you back in the face. He's like, see, that asshole wanted to fight me.
Yeah. Man, I know so many people like that. I used to be like that too.
Oh man, this is a very deep episode.
Yes, it is.
So let's shift gears to the question.
That was a very good topic to have us discuss, though, Evan.
Thank you.
Let us all know how weird you are. Fucking weirdo.
I really sometimes will think, I just need to buy a body pillow to be funny. But then I start to think, if I buy the body pillow, I might actually like it. I can't do that! It's that realm of
You can always make it yiffable.
Oh my god.
What does yiffable mean, Kyle?
Basically means like you make it fuckable. Give it a fuck hole. Or cock if that's what you want. I mean, I'll leave it up to you to decide.
See, my imagination now is like there's a store that sells body pillows, and Evan's in there, and they're like, "Would you like to buy one?" He's like, "No, that's okay."
I'm just browsing.
It would be really great. And so he's like, "Do not tempt me further."
Yeah, exactly. No, make no qualms about it. My goal in life is to get married to a beautiful, kind-hearted woman and make awesome warrior children that will contribute to society and further the human race as a positive force. But I realize that might not happen. So until then, I'm okay with watching anime and saying, I love Belle Dandy. I don't care if I'm 32 years old. I'm in love with an anime character, and I'm fine with that.
Fair enough.
So let's get to this question. Shifting gears. Today, I asked the two of you, what is the meanest thing you have ever done to a friend? You can do a mean joke. You can do a real mean thing. For me, it's my good buddy Shane sitting immediately to my left. Of course, his tale and my tale differ a little bit, but I'm going to tell it from the objective perspective, if you will.
The Evan perspective.
So we were like, what, 14?
I have no idea.
14, 15
Younger
years
than
old?
now.
Younger than we were now. We couldn't drive cars, so we had bikes. And there's this area down the street from where we live called the power lines. Basically, it's this huge curve, and at the end of the curve, it goes down this dirt road and into this huge path through the woods, which people ride on, dirt bikes, four-wheelers, whatever. Well, when you go off the road and down the dirt road, it goes straight down, and then at the bottom, there's a little hump, which is basically used for a jump for dirt bikes. Well, we always would ride our bikes down, and then when we would slow way the fuck down, and we would go real gingerly over that little hump. Well, one day, we had wild hares. And I said, Shane, I bet you won't go down there as fast as hell.
Oh my gosh, you finally got it right.
And Shane goes, watch me go down there fast as hell. So he takes off, man. I'm talking, his legs were moving like fucking Dragon Ball Z fast. Like, just a blur. And I'm like, holy shit, he's doing it. I can't believe it. So he hits the fucking launch ramp thing. And he goes right up in the air. And I'm going to use his bike tire as a clock metaphor. His front tire went from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I was like, holy shit, it's fucking E.T. Shane is E.T. He's going across the moon. And then it went to 11 o'clock. And then it went to 12 o'clock. And then it went all the way back down around to 6. And Shane lands like Lara Croft on Tomb Raider when you tumble on your fucking neck. Head first, shoulder first, boom! His body folds down, the bike lands, and rolls over his head, and falls down like 3 feet down the path. So as soon as this happens, my knees immediately give, and I can't even fathom to laugh because it's instantaneous, no noise laughter. Just like... I can't even breathe because I'm laughing so hard at how fucking much shit he just ate. So he's lying there. I'm not exaggerating. I do this all the time. I exaggerate shit. It was seriously at least... 5 minutes?
About 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes of me just laying in the dirt, laughing at my friend who could possibly be dead because he is not moving. So I gather my wits about myself and I stand up and I say, oh shit, man, Shane still hasn't moved. How can I find out if he's alive? Oh, I know. Here's a big stick that fell off of a tree. I'll throw it at him. So I get this big ass branch that had fallen off, and I throw it, and it hits Shane in the shoulder and the head, and flies over him. And I walk down there because he didn't move. I'm like, oh shit, maybe he's dead. So at this time, I've actually stopped laughing. And when I get down there, he goes, when I get up, I'm gonna kill you. So 5 minutes later, he lays there and he stands up. And I think you actually ended up breaking your collarbone?
Yes, it was broken.
Wow.
This is the thing, so from my perspective, just so you know, to make this, I'm going down there really fast. I'd like to say this too, up until this very point, so this is a momentous occasion none of you will know about, except for the few people that have heard the story before. Is usually when Evan told that story, it's like, Shane said, watch me go down this hill as fast as hell, and that's not what happened. Evan suggested I go down the hill fast as hell, but fault on mine, I did it, you see? Because I thought it was a great idea too, until I hit that bump. And then I went flying through the air. I remember going down the hill. I remember the impact of hitting the bump. The next thing I remember is a feeling of laying down real fast, because it didn't hurt. It's imagine if you just jumped up into the air and just landed flat on your back on a bed. That was what it was like. So I'm just laying down and I'm just looking at the sky. It was very blue that day, I remember. And then nothing hurts though. And then then the bite hits me in the back of the head and it flies over and I'm still fine. And then a few minutes later, I finally hear Evan laughing. And then a stick hits me. And then I make the joke, when I get up, I'm going to kill you. And I'm still laying there. And everything's fine. And I think I'm fine. And then I sit up. And all of the pain hits me immediately. And I'm like, oh, shit. My shoulder sure does hurt.
Dude, if there's ever time travel technology, I'm going to go back in time with a body pillow, and when you're knocked out, I'm going to put the body pillow in your arms and take a picture, upload it to Facebook, and be like, from the past, Shane's true self, body pillow lover.
God, you just want to make it work.
Yeah, I just went Fox News on you.
I can't think of any super particular thing that I've done. Like, there's lots of things
Boom!
that I'm...
Basketball goal. Boom!
Oh, well, I suppose that's one. That was called for, though.
It doesn't matter. That's still mean as shit.
No, actually, I can think of one.
Okay.
I forgot that the time, because I only did it once. I actually felt really bad about it, so I've never done something like that again. You'll remember as soon as it happens.
His voice got so serious.
Yes,
No,
I did.
I remember the time.
I do remember the time back. You remember when we were all there at Frank's house, and it was Frank's birthday, and Bum was there, and like for some reason, like the sheer evilness just poured up from me when he said something really stupid, because he did it all the time, and I was just like, Bum, nobody wants you here. Nobody actually likes you. Why don't you leave? And I'm just like, I did, just out of nowhere. That's the only time I've ever done something like that.
Let me preface this with the fact that this isn't a bum. This is a guy who was called Bum.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to chime in with that. And he got his name because he never bathed, he was always drunk, and he was just perpetually an asshole.
Yes.
He would always try to, like, pick on people, but he couldn't do it very well at all.
And randomly attack you.
And let me tell you, Shane would just fucking make a Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal film out of every day. One time we were in this fucking baseball field hanging out, and Bum gets mad at him. So Bum takes off his fucking pants. So we're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
So he comes up to start fighting Shane, and Shane's just like, boom! He starts slapping, he's like, come on! You want to do something about it? What are you doing? Why'd you take your pants off? What are you doing? I thought you wanted to fight me. And I'm just like sitting in the grass with my jaw fucking rolling to first base. I'm like, oh my God! Cause it's just unbelievable the situations that this dumbass would put himself in.
Yeah.
So I can't really feel bad for Bum. Well, I can, but everything that happened to him, he obviously deserved. And I'm sure everybody has a friend that's like that just makes themselves be the butt of the joke.
Yeah, and if you don't have a friend like that, then you are the friend.
Yes. Because we all make dumbass mistakes, but
yeah.
he made a living of dumbass mistakes. So what about you, Kyle?
Well,
You're the king of mean, the king of evil.
but the thing is when I'm mean, I mean to people who I don't like. Like, I literally just don't like them. Like, I remember, there was a time I told a guy who, I don't think anybody liked him, but he was just talking and giving everybody just being a pain in the ass. And I remember just looking at him and saying, Matthew, you were the fucking poster child for an abortion.
Oh, I remember this now. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is that the fucking live action role player guy with the glasses? I knew it!
Yeah. And like,
I knew it.
I
God,
said
he
this
sucked.
to him though. I said it to him and he laughed. He thought I was joking. Because that's the other thing is I like to joke a lot. So he thought I was just fucking around. I'm like, no, I'm serious. You are the poster child for fucking abortion.
God damn.
But like to like real friends, like I like to figure out what like people maybe what they don't like, or like, great example. Some people don't like to be the centers of attention. So I like to make them the center of attention because I know it really embarrasses them, and that makes me laugh. So, like, on multiple occasions, I've done this to multiple females that I know, where we would be standing somewhere and they're buying clothes, and I would just randomly, like, it's like we're quiet. The conversation, there's no talking, but there's people standing around as we're shopping, and I would just grab their arm and I would yell, "What do you mean it's not my baby?" And then everybody suddenly turns and looks over in our direction. And of course, whoever I'm with is now just like totally embarrassed. And for the most part, they're pretty good sports, so they start laughing about it, And then, like, of course, the people who are standing in the clothing store trying to figure out what the hell's going on, or they're expecting me to hit her or something. Or another thing I like to do, and I've done this with multiple people, not just females, I've done this with a male friend too, but they'll bring you the check when you're done eating, and they say, "Is this together or separate?" I'm like, "Separate. They're not putting out." I've done that so much, though, with one of my best friends that now whenever we go out to eat, she makes sure to grab the check. So I don't say it. Or she makes sure to say in advance that I'm paying or she's paying, so we don't have that pop up anymore.
Did she ever just put out so there's no question about it?
No.
Damn it!
I remember one other time I did something like that was with my mother. One time we were standing in line at Target to buy something, and it was right after all that stuff with Tiger Woods happened about him cheating on his wife and basically sleeping with all these women. Mm-hmm. And I pointed to the magazine with him on the cover, and my mom looked at it and she's like, I know, it's terrible, isn't it? I was like, well, you know, me and him have something in common. And she looked at me crazy. I was like, we both like to fuck. And I said just like that with people standing around. And my mother, being the woman she is, she was like, oh, that's good to know. And she just doesn't even miss a beat. She's just like, whatever, you know.
That's the best response to something like that.
Yeah, like, oh, okay. Just, you know, play along with, like, this is my crazy child who just says whatever, you know, I can't help it. But
Okay, I know that I lied. There's a bonus question, but it's only for Kyle.
oh, God.
What's the meanest thing you've ever done to an old person in a grocery store?
Oh, God. Well, this is going to be an extra long episode then.
You gotta tell that story, dude.
Okay. So, to preface this day, I was scheduled to take the GRE, which is basically like the SAT for going into graduate school. I was scheduled to take it that morning. I get to the place to take it, and I'd been studying for this thing like crazy. I was super nervous. They tell me that my day had been misscheduled. I was scheduled for a month later. Okay? So I'm already just like worked up. I go to and I decide, well, I have the day off of work. I'm going to make the best of it. I'll just go do stuff I need to do. So I went to go buy like envelopes, I think, at the grocery store or something. So I walk in, pick up the envelopes. I'm standing in line behind this woman. And it's an old lady. And the entire time we're standing in line, and this is like the express lane, she's like bebopping back and forth. Like she's just antsy as hell. And she's holding a yogurt. I'll never forget this fucking yogurt till the day I die. But she's holding the yogurt. And she's like jumping around trying to find a line that's quicker than the one we're in. But this is the quickest one. So eventually she gets up to the counter. And she puts the yogurt down. And the woman behind the counter says, I'll be $3.52. Once again, I'll never forget the price of that yogurt until the day I fucking die. So the old lady's like, can I write a check? The woman says, yes. She's like, can I write it for more than the yogurt costs? She says, yes. What's the maximum amount? The woman says, $50 over. So the old lady says, $50? She says, yes. It's $3.52. You can write it for 50 over. Old lady writes a check, hands it to the woman. And the woman said, did you want to write this for over? The old lady said, yeah. She's like, well, you just wrote it for $3.52. Old woman loses her shit. She's like, that's not what you said. That's not what you told me. You told me to write it for $3.52, blah, blah, blah. She said, yeah, but I said $50 over if you wanted it for that much. So she starts going crazy. And then the woman behind the counter is like, ma'am, it's okay, though. Just write a 5 in front of the 352, and it'll be 5352, and then write that, and you can just initial and correct it. The old lady's still flipping out at this point. Still flipping out. So she's like, don't worry, I'll just get my man. She's like, I'll get somebody to come over here, we'll fix it. So the old lady's going crazy, and they're really busy at this point, the store. And so she's waiting. The woman called her manager over, but she's waiting on her to finish with another transaction. When the old lady starts yelling, is there somebody over here who can help her? Come on, somebody needs to come up here and help her. Like screaming it at the top of her lungs. And the person comes over finally to help her. She's like, yes, ma'am. I was helping somebody else. I can help you now. So she starts working on it. And the old lady's still screaming. At this point, she's not listening to anything that's being said, so I think she's hard of hearing. I say, ma'am, I'm trying to help, okay? I'm trying to be helpful here. I'm not even in a rush. I don't care. I'm not trying to get anywhere. I was like, ma'am, I don't think you heard her. She said you could just write the 5 on there, blah, 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 and make it work out. Old lady stops and looks at me and she's like, you need to mind your own damn business. And you know in Kill Bill, when that music would play, that happened to me at that moment.
The fucking red lights and shit.
Yeah, and I just looked at that old lady. I was like, you know what? I was like, it's people like you that feel entitled that are ruining this country. Your generation is fucking everything up for the rest of us. Fucking baby boomers have ruined this goddamn country. And I just went off on this old lady right here. I basically blamed everything that was wrong in America on her and her generation. And she's got this look like she just like the wind just pushes her back. Like she's just horrified. She doesn't know what the fuck's going on at this point. And the rest of the story just kind of stops because, like, I'm loud at this point, like, yelling at her. And then I stop, and the old lady's like, she has this huge ring on her finger, the ugliest fucking ring I've ever seen in my life. She's like, I should just bop you with this right now. I should just hit you in your face. I was like, do it. Just call the police and you'll go to jail. So then this old man, who doesn't even know what the fuck's going on at this point, decides to come dip in the fucking conversation. He comes walking over and he's like, you want me to hold him down so you can beat him up? I looked at him, I was like, I like to see you try to hold me down so you can beat me up, and I'll call the police on both of your asses. I ain't above letting two old people beat my ass so they can go to fucking jail and I can sue the shit out of them. You know? And so then, like, at this point, one of the other cashiers, like, literally is just like, I don't know if she pushed me out of the way. She said, sir, you can just come over here. I'll check you out over here. And I was like, no, I like my line right here. I'll wait. And so the old lady is sitting there still yelling at her. They finish up her stuff. And I just stood there and I checked out and I just walked away. Just walked away.
Fucking Walter Sobchak. I'm finishing my coffee.
Yeah, I'm finishing my fucking... I like this fucking line. I'm not moving for her. Make that old bitch move. And I think that's what happened was they made her come over there because it's like her shit was so fucked up because this is what it was. Having worked in retail, this bitch was trying to write a check for over because she ain't got money in her bank account. She's trying to write a check so she can get it cashed today because she probably don't have money until the 2 or 3 days from now, and she knows that's how long it takes for a check to clear. So basically, she was trying to bounce a fucking check is what it came down to. You know?
Yes.
Go to the fucking bank, lazy ass. I think I said that at one point in my tirade. All I remember is the few pieces of it, but it was one of those things that, you know how, it might have only been like 30 seconds, but it felt like I was up there giving like the fucking Gettysburg Address to this woman.
You probably totally made like 7 people's day. It's like, yeah, you tell that old bitch who's boss.
Yeah. I mean, literally, I've never really been a fan of old people, but that woman, she ruined it for me. Like, I hate all old people now.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. My blood pressure's going after that, guys. Just thinking about it. Thinking about it's got my heart beating. I'm gonna go fucking beat up an old lady now.
I had to sneak that in there, man. The world needs to know how
God,
awesome
I just want to go out to a nursing home and just fucking curb stomp some folks.
Careful, man. The FBI might be listening.
Dude,
I hope they are.
what if they sue you?
What if
Or
who
the
sees
FBI
me?
for beating up old ladies they want to do it.
Whoa. That's a really good point.
Oh, man.
Shit. Well, I think that's about it. We're
I
a
do
little
too.
bit over the time limit.
Yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this week. Well, so if you guys like what you hear, you can always hit the like button on YouTube or subscribe to our channel. Actually, that's another thing I wanted to say really quick is that currently all our episodes are on YouTube. They're on my personal channel, but I'm actually going to create a channel just for us. So I'm going to have it moved over. So if you're listening to this on iTunes, you'll probably want to look in the notes to get that YouTube channel. If you're listening to this on YouTube, you already fucking know. So, but...
And we also now have a Facebook page, The Offenders Podcast. You can just look us right up.
Yeah, there you go. It takes right to us. You can go ahead and like us on there. And if you do, I've posted 1 or 2 things on there. And I know that I think Evan's going to post some stuff too, but we'll also upload put links to the videos or the video up there for the YouTube and then also for iTunes as well. Mm-hmm. Then if you listen to us on iTunes, you can favorite us, leave us a good rating, so other people will listen to us as well. But until next time, I'm Kyle.
I'm Evan.
I'm Shane.
This has been The Offenders. Y'all have a good one.
Peace.